tables? Explain to me
The
the
tables are the listings of contributing and not contributing properties. They list the address, the style of the home, and whether it contributes to the historic character of the district or not, basically. And those will remain the same no matter.
But if I wanted
when
to
it's done.
nominate Warwick Road, the street that I live on, and I went to Ted Hill, and he went to his, and I paid him a fee, he'd go to his database, and he would actually have this information.
Right.
And what's to stop him from saying that this house is contributing and this house isn't? That's a fact.
That's what I'm saying.
And
So it would
so-
be the same information, although you wouldn't have to go to Ted Hill. I mean, it's right now,
But I guess what,
the village has the rights on it.
yeah, I mean, I think kind of to simplify this, I think my feeling and my understanding is that we wouldn't want to not safeguard this information that we paid for, to have it the next day on the shelf and back to Springfield as is, without anyone doing any other work for it other than photocopying a section. And that's, does anybody object to that?
That's not what this says.
That's why I'm just been asking the question. Does anybody object to that?
As long as the village board approves it, no, I don't object to it. I think it should be limited to the approval of the village board.
It's already copyrighted, so I don't understand why this is even here.
To clarify it, make sure it's very, very clear,
I don't see why you need to clarify it if it's already
because
done.
there's apparently been a lot of confusion, so we're making it
Well, it
crystal
was
clear.
already done once.
I'm also questioning why we need an ordinance, Tolbert. I mean, I don't.
Oh, come on, this is ridiculous.
Oh, come on.
I am astonished, I am absolutely astonished with the end runs that have taken place, and we submitted by ordinance an application, and to change that, you must submit an ordinance to change it.
It's
It's
already
that
off the
simple.
agenda. It's already withdrawn.
That has nothing to do with the question. The question is, we should submit an ordinance to, this is another end run, and I am so disappointed, I cannot believe what you're saying.
Well, actually, I'm disappointed in the end run that you have done or tried to do.
Jackie, with it.
Would you call the room, Dorothy, please?
Oh, please, we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the ordinance as presented. Clerk Hastings, call the roll.
Well, we're not finished with discussion.
What do you have to
I
say?
have a lot to say.
Keep
I
going.
agree completely with Jackie. I also would like to address the meeting last week because I think it's related to this ordinance and what's going on. We received confirmation of the nominations placement on the agenda. I received it in writing from Andrew Heckenkamp on November 10th, and therefore my motion at the last meeting was to withdraw the nomination from the ISAC agenda, because that was what it was confirmed to me. That process had been explained to the board over several decisions over several months. And I'm disappointed that the village president chose to hold a meeting when most of the board was not available to discuss this, and since there was not a quorum, and this was known early the day before the meeting, I question why a meeting was even held. An email circulated by a resident the day of the meeting which listed the trustees who were expected to attend and insinuated that other trustees were boycotting the meeting gave me a pretty good idea of why the meeting was held. This apparently special meeting was in essence a press conference with the press and some residents in attendance and media panel reporting the proceedings. There appeared to be two apparent purposes for the meeting. One, to attack and discredit some board members when they could not defend themselves, and two, to draw up letters against the National Register nomination. Of course, the film from the meeting was immediately sent around the community and put on the internet. Tolbert's comment at the meeting that he was disappointed that board members would not make the time to attend the meeting was totally inappropriate and disrespectful, especially for a special meeting called with only a few days' notice. The fact that I was out of town, by the way, fulfilling a family commitment that was scheduled 6 months prior, was relayed to the village manager, who called my cell phone to inform me of the meeting. In my opinion, it was also inappropriate and downright deceitful for the village president to hold a meeting with a different purpose than was legally noticed, which was the consideration of this ordinance. Although Tolbert never spoke to me before the meeting, he not only decided to hold the meeting when I couldn't be there, but also to make public comments about what I supposedly said and my supposed intentions. I happened to check in with the IHPA a few days after our November 10th board meeting and was only told at that time that our nomination may not be on the agenda. I was also referred to the IHPA Associate Director, Mr. Wheeler. I told Mr. Wheeler that the day of our board meeting, I had confirmed with Andrew Heckenkamp of the nominations placement on the agenda. Then had made a motion at that meeting requesting that ISAC consider the nominations withdrawal, which was unanimously passed by the board. I want to make it very clear that Tolbert's assertion that I stated the board's vote to request withdrawal of the nomination was not an official action of the board is patently untrue and frankly does not make any sense. Why would I say my own motion and the resulting vote was not official? On the contrary, I defended my motion and the board's unanimous vote to request the ISAC withdrawal of the nomination. I also asked the state to follow the nomination procedure which had been repeatedly confirmed during the nomination process and understood and considered by the board in many votes since last spring. If there were any questions about my conversation, I should have been contacted, especially before there was a press conference held. It's only fair. What I did say to Mr. Wheeler was that any other action or request of the state was done without board knowledge or approval. This is true. According to Tolbert's statement and November 7th letter, he had requested Mr. Wheeler remove the nomination from the ISAC agenda before the board approved the withdrawal of the nomination through ISAC. In other words, he knew the process the board approved to ask ISAC to withdraw the nomination at the December 5th meeting, but he continued to lobby for removal from the agenda. Earlier in the year, Tolbert told me he has no obligation to inform me or the board of any information he has, which is what he told me when I questioned him about why he had not shared relevant information he had learned. I disagree with this concept wholeheartedly and believe a village president has a responsibility to the board to share all relevant information so that the board may make informed decisions. In conclusion, the nomination has been withdrawn, which I reconfirmed today with the IHPA. There is no need for the board to pass an ordinance to authorize something which has already taken place. Tolbert's statement last week also confirmed this by saying the state is not requiring an ordinance to withdraw the nomination. It was in its own statement. Additionally, I think there is also a downside to passing an unnecessary ordinance. It could lead some to believe that the future submission of a nomination would require another ordinance. It could be misinterpreted as a recommendation against future boards or residents submitting a nomination. It could lead some to believe that the board did not think the nomination of a National Registered District was a positive thing for the village. But most importantly, I think there's a downside for the board to pass an ordinance to legitimize an action which was taken without board approval and which was done withholding relevant information from the board. The board voted to request of ISAC to consider withdrawing the nomination, which is the standard procedure confirmed by the IHPA repeatedly throughout the process. As has been confirmed, this is the only authorization which was needed to withdraw the nomination, and the nomination has been removed from the ISAC agenda. I therefore don't think we need an ordinance.
Well, listening to your spinning, the truth again, the Jeff Schreiber, the school board president, called me and told me he was coming to a trustee meeting. I shared that with village manager Burke. Shortly after the death of my brother, I got a call from you at home, asked me if he was coming. I told you he was. He had called me earlier in the day. You started screaming at the top of your lungs and hung up on me. That is not the kind of action.
You told me you had no obligation to inform the board of any information you have.
That is not true.
Yes, you did.
That's not true. Just like the information about
You didn't do it now.
Bill
That's another reason.
Bill Wheeler told us exactly what you did down there, and you're now spinning it around. It's, I'm not even gonna try to defend that. I do not believe you. I do not believe anything you say because of what I learned from the truth. And so, say what you like.
That's fine, but what I just said was true. That's
It
what
is
happened.
not true.
No, what you did was true. You went around what the board agreed to. We passed something at our last meeting based on a set of assumptions.